Plaza has been unoccupied by protesters for nearly a week. Now, the Occupy Richmond protesters say they're moving to Monroe Park later this week. Police on horseback and city crews with bulldozers kicked out the protesters in the early morning hours last Monday. Ben Garbre continues our coverage with what protesters say they're going to do if they get kicked out again. Ben.
Well, I bet we may be heading for another clash between police and the Occupy Richmond protesters. Police say the same rules apply. You're not allowed to stay in city parks after dark. But the protesters say they're just going to keep occupying different parts of the city. Occupy Richmond protesters gathered at Monroe Park Sunday to go through a few items salvaged after they were kicked out of Kanawha Plaza in the middle of the night last week. Nick Spangler lost a bunch of items that night.
Brand new tent, brand new negative 10-degree sleeping bag, blankets, and a new winter jacket I just bought too. So all that's gone.
Kanawha Plaza is now reopened after city crews did some cleaning and maintenance after the Occupy Richmond protesters were kicked out. The protesters already have plans to reorganize, just this time not at Kanawha Plaza, but at Monroe Park.
This isn't anything about Kanawha Plaza, it's Occupy Richmond, and we're going to occupy Richmond.
The early morning eviction has even helped with recruitment. Philip Kelly decided to get involved after seeing them kicked out.
I've always agreed with the movement, but that really motivated me to get out here.
Now he plans to start spending his nights at Monroe Park. But who's to say the police won't kick the protesters out of there too?
I'm certain it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I would like to think that they won't do it, but I'm not going to be naive about that.
This wouldn't be the first time a group was arrested for protesting in Monroe Park. You may remember several members of a local anarchist group were arrested back in March for illegally camping in the park for a week. Spangler says they're already mapping out their next location if they're kicked out again.
We mean what we say. We have some commitment resolve here, and we want to show you that we want to be heard. We want to be seen and taken seriously.
The official 24/7 occupation of Monroe Park won't start until Wednesday evening. I'm Ben Garber for NBC 12.
Winner of the Emmy Award for overall station excellence.
Packed up, pushed out, even arrested. And now the Occupy Richmond protesters are moving on. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lorenzo Hall. It was exactly 1 week ago when Richmond police booted Occupy Richmond from Kanawha Plaza. But undeterred, protesters have now lined up a new homestead, saying they've learned from their downtown eviction. Katie Beck is in the newsroom with why their new neighbors aren't too happy about the prospect. Katie.
Well, Lorenzo, City Councilman Charles Samuels represents the Fan District and says the occupiers were breaking the law last week, and they'll be breaking it again when they move into his neighborhood. The group met at Monroe Park today to plan the next phase of Occupy Richmond.
We're planning on coming to Monroe Park on Wednesday, so we've got a lot to prepare for.
Their message isn't changing, but their location likely will. The Occupy Richmond movement has plans to be on the move in the next few days, setting up camp in the Fan.
We are just looking for assistance in all directions and support.
Last week, the city supported their removal from Kanawha Plaza.
You gotta still follow the law.
City Councilman Charles Samuels supports the right to peaceful protest, but says camping overnight in a public park violates the law, and feels the city let the violation go on for too long. He says letting it go on for 14 days downtown may now lead to problems in his district.
It's set the potential for a precedence that the city is not going to enforce their laws.
The occupiers expect that at some point they will be forced to move from Monroe. Not that that's a deterrent. Many tonight were discussing plans on how to be more mobile with their belongings, more quickly this time, and how to keep spirits up despite removals.
Keeping a positive outlook that, we are...
Occupy Richmond back on the move tonight, trying to find a place to occupy less than 24 hours after being blocked from Monroe Park. Tonight, the group marched to the city jail where two occupiers were behind bars earlier today, and now the protesters are getting an invitation to set up shop right next to Mayor Dwight Jones' home. Gene Petriello live in Richmond now. Gene, who's making this offer?
the mayor's neighbor, Raymond Boone. He's actually the editor and publisher here of the Richmond Free Press. And in this newspaper, in his editorial this week, he actually invites the occupiers right to his front lawn next to Mayor Dwight Jones. Now, we're out here outside the city jail because earlier tonight, a small group of those occupiers were protesting the 2 people that were arrested yesterday at Monroe Park. But those occupiers who were jailed were already released earlier tonight. Occupy Richmond is trying to find a new place to set up shop. In an editorial in today's Richmond Free Press, Raymond Boone, editor and publisher of the newspaper, says, "Come on over."
I cannot be a lamb to slaughter. The people are rising up and saying, we are not going to take it anymore.
There's rumors that the group may want to occupy the front yard of Mayor Jones. Last week, Boone says a police officer blocked the common driveway that he and Jones share.
He was there to help the mayor
and protect his home from the occupiers. So that's why Boone, who lives next door, is opening up his lawn. You can see here how large Mr. Boone's front yard is, and then it's just this little slip of driveway here that separates Mr. Boone's property from the mayor's.
We would welcome them and provide food and drink, water, and if I had tents, I would provide them.
We broke the news to some occupiers marching tonight.
I think that's amazing, honestly. I think it would be a great opportunity to have a real dialogue with Mayor Jones.
My reaction is actually surprised that that support is so available.
Now, there's no official decision tonight if the entire Occupy group will actually go to Boone's front lawn, but City Councilman Reva Trammell called me late tonight and tells me she supports Boone and this initiative. Meanwhile, I stopped by Mayor Jones's house late this afternoon, and a person who was there at the home told me that the mayor was not home. Live at the City Jail in Richmond, I'm Gene Petriello, NBC 12.